Welcome to Put a Word on It, a podcast presented by Men of Valor. In each episode, we're going to talk with a different man, but each one with a unique journey from brokenness to freedom. I'm your host, Rudy Kalis. I spent over 40 years as a TV sportscaster, then retired and joined the Men of Valor program as a volunteer. So join the conversation. Reconciling men to God, their families, and society. Welcome to another edition of Put a Word on It, brought to you by Interstate AC. We thank them so much for their support. You know, most of the guys that I deal with and that we deal with in prison have had difficult backgrounds, childhoods, abuse, all kinds of trauma in their lives early on. But once in a while, you meet a young man who had it all. Wonderful, caring parents, wonderful student in school, and a great athlete, and yet there was a twist and something went wrong that he had to learn from. I want you to meet Sean Gallman. He's an athlete from the word go. I know you're an athlete. I mean, has sports been a part of your life all the time?
Sports has been a part of my life ever since I can remember. I started playing sports when I was about 7 years old. That was when I was eligible to play. And I just never forget that my parents told me, they said, you know, if you get all your chores done, you can play sports. And I've been playing sports ever since. I had an older brother that played, so following his footsteps. And I just enjoyed it. It just became a part of my life. I knew by the time I was 11 or 12, I knew I wanted to go to college and play sports. So,
and you did go to college?
I did go to college and play sports. I kind of bounced around a little bit. I started off at Western Carolina playing on a football scholarship, and then I went to University of South Carolina and played baseball, and then transferred to Howard University to finish up my baseball career.
Wow.
So,
be able to go to those schools, you had to be a good student too, didn't you?
I did. I excelled in school. I graduated high school and college with honors. So, yeah, my parents stressed the books. I have a funny story to tell. That one time I was in the sixth grade, and I love playing sports. My dad said, if you bring a C home, you won't be able to play basketball. And I tested that theory. He pulled me off the team. So ever since then, I never had a problem with grades anymore. So I made sure I got my schoolwork just so I could play sports.
You obviously had a good family. You still have both parents. You had a brother and a sister on either side of you and such in a good way. I can't even look at you and think you got into any trouble.
No. Well, yeah, I did. I was, I was kind of the wild one growing up, but sports kept me grounded. And, I remember my brother he told me one time, said, now, if you want to play sports, you're going to have to choose the right crowd. And that kind of changed my perspective. I said, okay, I don't want anything to deter me from playing sports. So if I got to excel in school, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to excel in school. And, it was just always something I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted to go to college and play sports and excel at that. And I had the opportunity to do that. And, I didn't necessarily get into trouble. I can tell you I don't necessarily got derailed. I got refocused when I was in college. I achieved my dream of getting a college scholarship. And then, my freshman year playing football at Western Carolina, I had kidney failure and almost died. And, I woke up and they say, hey, man, you should be either dead or in a coma. There's no way you should be playing. And it just kind of, refocused me a little bit. I grew up in a strong, Christian home, and just refocused my faith and just really said, okay, God, what now? They told me I never play sports again. And, I was able to say, no, I'm coming back. I'm going to play baseball. So, I had a kidney transplant, changed sports, went to baseball. So I was able to do both in college. Yeah.
With the kidney transplant, obviously you can't play football at all.
I couldn't play
anymore.
Football, correct.
Oh.
Yeah.
Tell me about your life, though. Then you got into some trouble, didn't you?
Well, when later on in life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out, because I love this guy I'm talking to and all these right things and all these good grades. And then I'm saying, wait a minute, what happens?
Well, later on in life, I after I finished college, I went to work for, corporate America. Went on and finished, got several degrees. And after I left corporate America, I went and branched out and started working on my own and from a business perspective. And, started doing taxes and went to serve some federal time for tax fraud.
You did?
I did. Served 5 years for tax fraud.
Why? How in the world? You're smarter than that.
Well, sometimes you think you can be doing things right. It's not like you set out and say, hey, man, let me go out and do this. But, it's one of those things that after you got so far going, realize, oh, that wasn't necessarily the right way to do things. And you realize that, hey, there comes, accountability. So, you stand up and say, hey, I take accountability for what I did, and the consequences come along with it. But, you know, one of the interesting things about those experiences, I call it two experiences in my life, from having the near death experience and also going through this experience with prison. One of the things that I really, really, that's just resonated with me, that God is so faithful, and that in spite of our wrongs, thank God for the grace, and understanding that, you know, yeah, things do happen in life. We do have valleys in life, but as long as we continue to keep our eyes on the Father, that there's nothing that He can't bring us out of, and turn it around for our good. And that's one of the things that I really learned, that, okay, yeah, I may have made a mistake, but in this, what did I learn? How do I become better? And in becoming better, then now how do I exude that? How do I begin to help others to say, you know what, that a setback doesn't have to mean the end of your life, that Christ is also faithful. And so it really just refocused me, because like I said, I've always had a relationship. It wasn't that I, went had a, just forgot Christ, just turned away. I realized that our relationship is a journey, and we're always continue to evolve. And even though the valley happened, I'm just reminded of Romans 8:28, that all things work together for them that love God, and to those who call the His purpose. All things are working together for the good. So even in that experience led me to Men of Valor. That experience led me to Tennessee. So all the things that I continue to look at the positive, that I continue to grow and to develop, it just continues to refine me, and part of my story, part of my experience, that so I can now go out and help others. And so now look back over my life, like, wow, I came from, honors, came from, good home, parents together, siblings, or everyone is still living and, excelling in sports and college, what happened. And one of the things that I can say is that, if I had to say mentorship, is that I really understand the value of mentorship as far as in every area of your life. That was one of the areas that I didn't quite have in business when I started from a standpoint of mentorship, and understanding now just the value of mentorship is one of the reasons why now, as I'm looking at this, this journey with Men of Valor, and just being drawn to here is what they offer all around, but just from a mentorship standpoint, being able to pour into others. And I see a lot of things that I may have, my experience that I may have missed. It has really given me the opportunity to say, you know what, that even though that's not the end, well, here's things that can help someone else. Here's something to say, you don't have to make the same mistakes. Here's how you begin to center your life and really keep Christ at the focus, and regardless of what hiccup you may have, that is never the end, because whether my hiccup may have been prison, where somebody else's hiccup may have been an addiction, where someone else's hiccup may have been a divorce, God is faithful and sees you through and brings you out better on the other side. And, Rudy, I tell you, man, one of the greatest stories for me is Jonah. And I look at that, when you're in the belly of the whale or whatever situation you're in your life, being able to look to the holy hill and still look at the Father, and knowing that He's going to deliver you, bring you out, and you're going to come out better. And, I look at my life like that. It's just all these different things have really helped me evolve into the man I am today. It's sometimes you think just because you turn 21, you're an adult.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of, disagree. Sometimes life experiences help grow you up a little bit, and really help refocus you, and really allow you to see the things that are important, and really begin to grow and further develop.
Let me ask you this,
Yeah.
though. For the sake of people that watch and say, how can a guy have a hiccup when he's had so many good things
Uh-huh.
in his life? Was the hiccup pride? Was the hiccup all of a sudden a desire for wealth? What causes someone to make that kind of a mistake, probably knowing you're making it to some degree?
I think one of the biggest things is the hiccup. You get so focused on success and what the world deems success,
There
and
you
we deem
go.
success as financial gain and a successful business, money. So your business is not deemed successful until you are showing great prosperity and wealth. And so when you get that focus, sometimes you start straying the line as far as with business and things like that, to say, hey, just push through. And that becomes like a hiccup, because when you're doing that and you don't have surround yourself with good mentorships that are around you to kind of say, hey, you know what, you're veering a little bit too far to the left, you're veering a little too far to the right. Then you find yourself, hey, all of a sudden looking at these obstacles and these valleys to say, hey, how did I get here? But yes, you're right. When you start looking back, there is a little trail that's saying, hey, you're going down, you're pushing this way, but that's not necessarily the way to always go. But if you don't have, the mentorship to kind of help guide you in that, it's easy to get on that slope.
You get that little bit of, I'll be all right. I know I'm pushing the edge of it, but I'll be all right.
Yeah.
How much time did you do?
I did 5 years. And, that's an interesting story on that. I had an 11-year sentence, and I went in and I kept saying that this will not be the end. I will not have to serve. God is going to bring me out. And
but you had to repent too.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when that goes back to refocusing and saying, Lord, what will you have me to do? That I know that this is not my end. Lord, begin to pour into me and to speak to me and to show me and direct my path. And in that prison, everything else, I didn't have the distractions.
Yeah. You lose everything. You can start all over.
Yes. And it just became just a pure focus on the word of God and just the relationship. And in that, he told me, I knew that I was going to leave and he's going to bring me out. And it's kind of like I said to Jonah, I knew, okay, what will you have me to do? Yeah. And I remember getting told, no, you're not going to be released early. These things will happen. I said, nope, I already know what the Father's told me. And I just rested in his love. I was just really surrounded by the love and grace of God. And then one day they said, hey, you know what? Your time is up. There's this new program coming out. You're going home. So just is one of the prayers I asked, just to get back to my kids and my family, to be able to raise my kids. And, he answered that. So it was not only just repenting, but just the focus of just the relationship with the Father while you're there, and just understanding the love of God and being able to share that with others.
Can't you just look at it now and say, I almost needed that to make me deeper so that I can now relate to these men that I'm working with through Men of Valor. It's just this whole purpose of God.
Rudy, I just finished a conversation with someone before I came in. I said, a lot of times people look at prison as bad. I said, but for me, I am such a changed person. Mm-hmm. The journey has just continued to evolve and expand, that the relationship has just gotten deeper. I have become more aware of the oneness of who I am in the Father, who he is in me. And it's just a refreshness that it's just like being baptized all over. It's just like, we think that sometimes once we're baptized one, that's it. But as you continue to evolve, it's just like, wow, it's so much more of the Father. It's so much more that we can learn and grow and experience that is never ending. And it's just so refreshing.
Oh, wow. Well, the name of our program is Put a Word on It.
Yes, absolutely.
You got one for me?
I do. Perseverance. And perseverance has kind of been my mantra in life, that no matter what comes, it's just you keep persevering and always living in the end. And what I mean by that is calling those things that be not as though they were, mm-hmm. because knowing that all things work together for good to them that love God and who are called according to his purpose. So as long as we keep persevering, we're going to experience that. And all these things will continue to refine us and continue to grow us up, and just we evolve into the men that God has called us to be.
The verse I think of is, well, with that press on to the mark of the calling of Christ Jesus.
Absolutely.
And if you're in any way otherwise minded, he'll jerk your chain.
Absolutely.
He will remind you. Absolutely. Oh, man, you're so good for these men, Sean.
Yeah,
I'm
enjoying it. I'm enjoying it.
God bless you, my friend.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I just love being around Sean. Isn't he magnetic in the way he talks? Perseverance. I can see it in him. Look what all he has done with his life in order to get to this point of making a difference. He's a mentor, and we need mentors, more of you. If you've got it in your heart, if it's just something inside you says, I want to give out to some of these guys and give them some hope, then we need you here. Just go to our website and you can find the information. Thanks for joining us. Join us again next time as we put a word on it.